Baguette here, and today we are going to assemble our upper receiver right here for our Spikes Tactical AR15 build. As you can see, there's a brand new upper right here from Spikes Tactical, M4 flat top upper. Gives you a part number, a phone number for Spikes Tactical, and their website, and their cool little logo. So we'll go ahead and open this bugger up. Big thing about putting together an AR15 is you want to make sure it's lubed up really well. This upper looks pretty dry to me, but definitely a high quality piece. It already came assembled, I see here, with the forward assist and our dust cover, but it does feel pretty dry. There might be the slightest little something on it, but that's about it. But definitely a high quality piece here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and with my favorite stuff, Rem oil right here. It's got some Teflon in there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to give it a couple squirts in right in here. And this stuff, a lot of the stuff evaporates off, but it definitely, you can see the coating in there now. There you go. It'll leave a nice coat of Teflon in there. So the second thing we'll go ahead and install is our BCM gunfighter handle right here. And this was another recommendation from James Yeager right here. And actually, Spikes does not make their own charging handles. When you buy a charging handle for them, this is what they offer you, these BCM. So this one basically, it looks a little bit bigger than mil spec. The handle side looks a little heavy duty. Also, it has that extra grab bar right there. So it's going to be fatter and it's going to be more to grab onto than a regular mil spec handle. The other thing I wanted to get into too is lubrication of an AR-15. There are a lot, because it's a gas-operated gun. There are a lot of moving parts in an AR-15. The bolt carrier group is got a lot of moving parts. This upper receiver is just filled with moving parts. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and put just a little bit of got a little gun grease right there, and you definitely want to run an AR-15. They call it run them wet. So we'll just get a little dab right there. I'm going to rub it between my two fingers. And you don't need a lot, but what you want to do is just put a nice coating on here. And, just get a little bit on here. And also, if we can get a little bit in the channel right there. Actually, we'll lube the gas key instead. As long as one of them's lubed, it'll be all right. And then the other thing you can do is we're also going to give it a coat of Rem oil. And then this just will slide in here. You'll see those little prongs right there. Those just slide in there like that, and that's it right there. You can hear a positive click. And that's got a cool look to it. And basically you can just see that's your big release latch right there. So next we have, and I believe I've already lubed this, but we'll do it one more time for the camera. Remember, all right, so there's a bolt carrier group, and this is definitely a pretty slick piece right here. And we're going to go ahead and put some lube on this bugger. So to take apart the bolt carrier and to lube this, the only thing I kind of always use is, maybe if you have real small fingers or an Allen wrench, is you're going to see this cotter pin in there, right there, and where it's protruding out right over here. And I'll just be careful, actually it pushes it right out. So I just took this little skinny Allen wrench and I was able to push it out, and you can see there it is. So we'll go ahead, pull out the cotter pin, turn the bolt carrier upside down, our firing pin drops right out. Next thing we'll do is remove the cam pin right there, and there goes the cam. And basically the firing pin helps hold the AR-15, the bolt carrier, together right there. And so the firing pin works right through the cam pin. So once you have the cotter pin out, firing pin out, cam pin comes out, and then your bolt comes out of the carrier group right there. And that's it right there. So your unit is totally disassembled. The other thing to take note of is, see how it's staked right there on the two Allens? Actually, those aren't Allens. Those are some sort of a hex fitting. Yeah, I've never seen those before. But that's a nice stake job right there. You don't want to take that apart. So basically our gas key right there, gas goes down there and it'll shoot down into the bolt carrier and push the bolt forward. And that's what unlocks it and then sends the whole system backwards. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take a little more grease right here. And one area you really want to grease up right here, if you can see these carefully, 1, 2, 3, there's 3 gas rings on here on that bolt. And we're going to definitely put some lube on these right here. I'm going to put a little lube on the rest of the bolt. And don't feel, this is the first time, so we want to make sure there's plenty of lube. So we'll go ahead, try to get it all in these teeth right here, because these interlock with the barrel right there. So there's a lot of friction there. So you want to make sure, you don't need to gunk it up, but I want to make sure there's lube on there. The next piece we're going to lube up is going to be our cam pin right there. And make note not to get lube on the firing pin, because all the lube on the firing pin will do is going to create drag. And the drag will slow down the firing pin, and if you have enough lube on a firing pin, the rifle won't go off. It won't have enough speed and velocity to set to set a firing cap off. So that'll be that. And the next thing we're going to do is put a slight coat of lube on the whole bolt carrier. On the big friction surfaces, I love the way AR-15s wear. And so once you start shooting them, you'll see these raised rails right here are your main points where it's riding in the upper receiver. So make sure you got a little bit of lube on all those. Get a little more. And then a little on the back, because the back will ride on it too. The other place is this big flat part right here on the bottom where it picks up rounds. We'll put a little lube. There we go, that's plenty. Right on there, a little bit of grease. So there we go. Next area I will do is give this a whole liberal coating of rem oil. Teflon is interesting because it's a dry lubricant, so for a firing pin, you don't want to get grease on a firing pin. The other thing to note is in a cold environment, I'm in Vermont, this rifle's staying in Vermont, this rifle cannot go back to New York, that would be against the law, is that you don't want to keep grease on your firing pin, and this stuff will get very viscous and get very thick in a cold environment. So you're better off with a dry lubricant like a Teflon right here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit our whole system right here with our rem oil right here, and we will hit our firing pin with it and then just kind of wipe it off. We will hit our bolt with it. We hit our cam with it. And that's it. So we're lubed. So to go back together, look at this. We got our extractor right there. We want the extractor on the right side of the bolt right here, and the ejector on the left side. That way it pulls it on. The ejector will flip the brass out of our ejection port. And the other thing is, just like a piston in a gas engine, this one's actually, it's good, I just looked at this, these are really little. You want to make sure your gaps on your rings don't overlap. I've just separated them. It's pretty easy to separate them. Yeah, they're separated now. Make sure they don't overlap. Because you want a good gas seal. As the gas is coming up behind the bolt, and it's pushing the bolt forward. So we'll go ahead and drop that in there. Sure, extractor's there. And sometimes that can be a little funny to get in there. There we go. That's in there. So we're in there now. Next thing we'll want to do is put in our cam. You can see how I've got the hole lined up right there. So we'll put in our cam pin. Go ahead and we'll twist that around. So you can see that it's definitely a rectangular shape. Next thing we'll do, we'll put our firing pin in. Easiest way to do this is to turn the bolt carrier group upside down. Let gravity do it for you. Also make note that this is an M16 bolt carrier. It has the whole bottom piece on it right there, and a lot of people, they call them neutered bolt carriers. This one has not been neutered. Make sure your firing pin's down all the way. It is. Take our little cotter pin right there. Let's give it a little quick spray. Rub it around my oily fingers. Put it back in there all the way, and that's it right there. So you see, basically you can take the whole bolt carrier group by hand, and we got this all lubed up. It's ready to go. And as you can see, our cam pin, you can see a little bit of movement right there. Just engage the, you know, the lockup in the barrel right there. But that's good right there. We got some lube in there, and we're looking good. So when you install these, make sure the bolt is all the way out of the carrier right there, and it will slide right in there if everything goes to plan. Actually, going to pull it out a little bit. You'll see this little recessed groove right there, and that reminds me, we're going to go ahead and put just a little extra oil, little more grease right on our gas key right there. Yes, because that's going to, you know, probably be we could get a little friction there too. But, you know, you don't want it too gummed up. And honestly, it's getting warm here in Vermont. It's already up to getting into, you know, about 40 degrees during the day. Actually, it's going to be 22 tomorrow. But, you know, I don't want to put too much grease on this, but, you know, definitely needs some. You don't want to run an AR wet. So you can see, there we go. Put it all in there. We are ready for business. See, that's all flush fit. The charging handle is locked right there. We'll wipe it off, wipe some of this excess off. Whoops. Yeah, there's no barrel to hold it in there, so that'll come right out. But that's our look right there. So I'm really starting to come together. So there's our upper receiver right here. You can see that's what it looks like from the front without the barrel in it. What we will do is complete upper receiver. Now we'll go ahead and we'll put this barrel on it.